The morning sun cast long shadows across the corridors of Windsor Castle on December 20th, 2021. Queen Elizabeth II, at 95 years old, sat quietly in her private study, surrounded by towers of briefing papers and draft speeches. Her faithful corgis, Muick and Sandy, lay peacefully at her feet, sensing the weight of the moment their beloved mistress was preparing for. This would not be an ordinary Christmas address. The year 2021 had tested the royal family and the nation in ways that few could have imagined. The Queen's private secretary, Sir Edward Young, knocked gently on the oak door before entering with the latest draft of her annual Christmas message. "Your Majesty, the final version from the speechwriting team," he said, placing the document carefully on her mahogany desk. The Queen lifted her reading glasses and began to review the words that would soon reach millions of people across the Commonwealth and beyond. Outside her window, the ancient walls of Windsor Castle stood as they had for nearly 1,000 years, weathering countless storms. But inside, the monarch who had reigned for nearly 7 decades was facing one of her most challenging years yet. The death of her beloved husband, Prince Philip, in April had left a profound emptiness in her life and in the heart of the royal family. The Queen had always approached her Christmas speeches with deep seriousness. Since 1957, when she delivered her first televised Christmas message, these annual addresses had become a cherished tradition for families across Britain and the Commonwealth. Each year, she would reflect on the events that had shaped the nation and offer words of comfort, hope, and guidance. But 2021 had been different. The ongoing pandemic continued to separate families and challenge communities worldwide. The Queen herself had contracted COVID-19 earlier in the year, experiencing what she would later describe as leaving one feeling very tired and exhausted. Her advanced age made the illness particularly concerning for her medical team and family members. As she read through the draft, memories of the past year flooded her mind. She remembered the morning in April when she had received the call about Philip's passing. After 73 years of marriage, her constant companion was gone. The image of her sitting alone at his funeral, separated by pandemic protocols from even her own family members, had become one of the most poignant photographs of the year. The Queen made careful notes in the margins of the speech draft. Her handwriting, still remarkably steady despite her age, reflected decades of practice in reviewing official documents. She understood that her words carried enormous weight, especially during times of uncertainty and grief. Her lady-in-waiting, Lady Susan Hussey, entered quietly to refresh the Queen's tea and ensure she had everything needed for her review. The two women had worked together for decades, and Lady Susan could sense the emotional weight her monarch was carrying. The Queen had always been private about her personal feelings, but those closest to her knew that Philip's death had affected her profoundly. The speech draft addressed several key themes that had emerged throughout 2021. The ongoing challenges of the pandemic, the importance of community support, and the need for hope during difficult times were all woven throughout the text. But there was something more personal this year, something that reflected the Queen's own journey through grief and loss. She paused at a particular passage that mentioned the importance of family and the pain of separation. The words resonated deeply with her own experience of losing Philip and with the millions of families who had faced similar losses during the pandemic. The Queen had always been careful to balance her personal experiences with her role as a unifying figure for the nation. The technical team had already begun preparing the white drawing room at Windsor Castle for the recording. The familiar setting, with its elegant cream and gold decor, had been used for many previous Christmas broadcasts. The room's intimate atmosphere helped create a sense of connection between the monarch and her audience, as if she were speaking directly into their living rooms. Camera operator James Manning and director Lynette Lithgow had worked on several previous royal broadcasts. They understood the importance of capturing not just the Queen's words, but the subtle emotions behind them. The lighting would need to be perfect, warm enough to create a welcoming atmosphere, while ensuring that every detail of the Queen's appearance was clearly visible to viewers. The Queen's dresser, Angela Kelly, had already prepared several outfit options for the recording. Each choice carried symbolic meaning, from the colors chosen to the jewelry selected. The Queen was acutely aware that every visual element of her appearance would be analyzed and discussed by the media and public. As the morning progressed, various members of the royal household arrived to finalize preparations. The Queen's press secretary coordinated with media outlets around the world, ensuring that the broadcast would reach as many people as possible. The Christmas message had evolved from a simple radio address to a global multimedia event, reflecting the changing nature of communication in the modern age. The Queen's grandchildren and great-grandchildren had been much on her mind as she prepared for this address. The new generation of royals, including Prince William and Catherine's children, represented hope for the future of the monarchy. Their energy and enthusiasm had brought joy to family gatherings throughout the year, even during difficult times. She thought about her conversation with Prince William just days earlier, when they had discussed the challenges facing young families during the pandemic. The economic uncertainty, the mental health impacts, and the educational disruptions had affected an entire generation of children and young adults. Her Christmas message needed to acknowledge these struggles while offering genuine hope for the future. The Queen's faith had always been a central part of her Christmas addresses. As Supreme Governor of the Church of England, she understood her role in providing spiritual comfort to those who shared her beliefs while remaining inclusive of all faiths and backgrounds within her realms. The Christmas story itself offered powerful themes of hope, renewal, and love that transcended religious boundaries. Her personal chaplain, Canon Paul Wright, had provided thoughtful input on the theological aspects of the speech. They had discussed how to address the question of suffering and loss that had dominated 2021, while maintaining the message of hope that was central to the Christmas tradition. The Queen had always found strength in her faith during challenging times, and she wanted to share that source of comfort with others. The morning sun continued to stream through the tall windows of her study as the Queen made her final revisions to the speech text. Each word was chosen carefully, each pause considered for its impact. She had learned over decades of public speaking that the power of her words lay not just in their content, but in their delivery and timing. Her equerry, Lieutenant Colonel Nana Kofi Twumasiankra, entered to provide the updated schedule for the day. The recording would take place in the early afternoon, allowing time for any final adjustments while ensuring optimal lighting conditions in the white drawing room. The Queen appreciated the military precision with which her household managed such important events. As she prepared to set aside the speech draft, the Queen reflected on the unique position she held in the lives of her subjects. For many people, her Christmas message had become as much a part of their holiday tradition as decorating trees or preparing special meals. Families would gather around television sets, creating shared memories that would last for generations. The weight of this responsibility had never diminished for her, even after more than 6 decades on the throne. If anything, recent events had reinforced her understanding of how important these moments of connection could be during times of uncertainty and change. The afternoon light filtered softly through the silk curtains of the white drawing room as the technical crew made their final preparations. The ornate chandelier cast a warm glow over the elegant space, which had been transformed into a television studio for the day. Despite the formal setting, there was an intimate quality to the room that made it perfect for the Queen's annual address to her people. Director Lynette Lithgow reviewed the camera positions one final time. She had worked with the royal household on numerous occasions and understood the delicate balance required when filming the monarch. The shots needed to be respectful yet engaging, formal yet personal. Every angle had been carefully planned to ensure that viewers would feel as though the Queen was speaking directly to them. The Queen's personal photographer, Chris Jackson, was also present to capture behind-the-scenes moments. These photographs would later provide a glimpse into the careful preparation that went into creating such an important broadcast. The images would show the human side of the monarchy, the quiet moments of concentration and preparation that the public rarely witnessed. In her private apartments, The Queen was putting the finishing touches on her appearance for the recording. Angela Kelly had selected a stunning blue dress for the occasion, a color that would photograph beautifully under the television lights while conveying a sense of calm and stability. The choice of clothing for such occasions was never random. Every element was considered for its visual impact and symbolic meaning. The jewelry selection for this year's speech carried particular significance. The Queen had chosen to wear the sapphire chrysanthemum brooch that Prince Philip had given her for their honeymoon in 1947. The piece held deep personal meaning, representing their long and happy marriage while serving as a subtle tribute to her late husband. Viewers familiar with royal jewelry would recognize the significance of this choice. As she prepared for the recording, the Queen's thoughts turned to the families who would be watching her message on Christmas Day. She imagined children gathered around television sets, grandparents sharing the moment with younger generations, and individuals spending Christmas alone who might find comfort in her words. This mental connection with her audience had always been important to her approach to these broadcasts. Her private secretary confirmed that everything was ready for the recording to begin. The technical team had conducted sound checks and camera tests to ensure the highest possible quality for the broadcast. Given the global reach of the Christmas message, there was no room for technical difficulties or imperfections. The Queen made her way to the white drawing room, her steps measured and confident despite her recent health challenges. The room fell silent as she entered, with everyone present understanding the solemnity of the moment. This was not merely a television recording. It was the continuation of a tradition that connected the monarchy with millions of people around the world. She took her seat at the antique writing desk that had been positioned carefully for optimal camera angles. The desk itself was significant, having been used by previous generations of royals for important correspondence and official duties. Its presence in the shot reinforced the continuity and stability that the monarchy represented during times of change. Behind her, a Christmas tree stood decorated with handmade ornaments, many created by local school children and community groups. The tree represented the grassroots connections between the crown and ordinary citizens, symbolizing how the monarchy remained rooted in the daily lives of regular people despite its formal grandeur. The lighting in the room had been adjusted to create a warm, welcoming atmosphere. The technical team had learned over the years that harsh lighting could make the Queen appear stern or distant, while too soft lighting might make her seem frail. The goal was to capture her natural dignity and warmth while ensuring she appeared strong and healthy. As the final preparations were completed, the Queen reviewed her speech notes one last time. She had delivered dozens of these Christmas messages over the decades, but each one required the same careful attention to detail. The words needed to resonate with people of all ages and backgrounds, offering comfort to those facing difficulties while celebrating the achievements and resilience of communities worldwide. Director Lithgow called for quiet on the set, and the room fell completely silent. The only sounds were the gentle ticking of an antique clock, and the soft were the television cameras. The Queen composed herself, drawing on decades of experience in front of cameras to project the calm authority that had defined her reign. The recording began with the familiar opening shots of the elegantly decorated room. The cameras captured the warm glow of the Christmas lights, the rich textures of the antique furniture, and the subtle details that made Windsor Castle such an iconic setting. These establishing shots helped viewers feel transported into the royal residence, creating an intimate connection despite the physical distance. When the cameras focused on the Queen herself, she appeared serene and thoughtful. Her posture was perfect, her expression warm but serious, conveying the gravity of the message she was about to deliver. Years of public speaking had taught her how to connect with an audience through the camera lens, making each viewer feel as though she was addressing them personally. The Queen began speaking in her characteristic measured tone, each word carefully enunciated for maximum clarity. Her voice carried the weight of her years while maintaining the strength and authority that had defined her public presence throughout her long reign. The opening words set the tone for a message that would be both deeply personal and broadly relevant. She spoke about the challenges that had marked 2021, acknowledging the ongoing difficulties faced by families and communities around the world. The pandemic had created unprecedented challenges, separating loved ones and forcing people to find new ways of maintaining connections. Her words recognized these struggles without dwelling on despair, instead focusing on the resilience and creativity that people had shown in adapting to difficult circumstances. The Queen's reference to her late husband was handled with characteristic dignity and restraint. Rather than dwelling on her personal grief, she spoke about the values that Philip had embodied throughout his life: service, dedication, and an unwavering commitment to making a positive difference in the world. Her words honored his memory while encouraging others to embrace similar principles in their own lives. Technology had changed dramatically since the Queen's first Christmas broadcast in the 1950s, but the core purpose remained the same: to bring comfort, encouragement, and a sense of unity to people during the Christmas season. The production team worked seamlessly to capture every nuance of her delivery, ensuring that viewers would receive the full impact of her message. Between takes, the Queen remained composed and professional, making small adjustments to her delivery based on the director's gentle suggestions. Her decades of experience in front of camera showed in her ability to maintain the same level of warmth and authority take after take, never allowing the technical aspects of filming to interfere with the authenticity of her message. The historical significance of this particular Christmas message was not lost on anyone in the room. This was the Queen's first Christmas address as a widow, marking a profound change in her personal circumstances. Yet she approached the recording with the same professionalism and dedication that had characterized her entire reign, placing her duty to her people above her personal feelings. As the recording session continued, the Queen's stamina and focus impressed everyone present. Despite her advanced age and recent health challenges, she remained fully engaged with the process, making thoughtful contributions to ensure that every aspect of the broadcast met her high standards. Her work ethic had always been legendary among those who worked closely with her. The technical crew captured not just the Queen's words, but the subtle emotions behind them. Her slight pauses, the gentle inflection in her voice, and the way she looked directly into the camera all contributed to creating a sense of intimacy and connection with viewers. These details would make the broadcast feel like a personal conversation rather than a formal speech. The Christmas decorations in the background served as more than mere set dressing. They represented the hope and joy that the season brought even during difficult times. The Queen's message would emphasize these themes, encouraging viewers to find light in darkness and to maintain hope for better days ahead. The visual elements of the broadcast reinforced these messages, creating a cohesive and powerful presentation. The recording session reached its emotional heart as the Queen addressed the profound losses that had touched so many lives during 2021. Her voice remained steady, but those who knew her well could detect the underlying emotion as she spoke about grief, separation, and the universal human experience of losing loved ones. The camera captured every subtle expression, ensuring that viewers would feel the genuine compassion behind her carefully chosen words. The Queen's reference to the empty chair at Christmas dinner resonated with millions of families who would face their first holiday season without someone dear to them. This wasn't just royal rhetoric. It was a deeply personal acknowledgement from someone who understood exactly what that emptiness felt like. Her own experience of losing Prince Philip gave weight and authenticity to her words of comfort. During a brief pause in filming, the Queen adjusted the sapphire brooch on her dress, a small gesture that spoke volumes about the personal significance of this broadcast. The jewelry piece caught the light beautifully, serving as a visual reminder of enduring love and cherished memories. The production team understood the importance of such details and ensured the brooch was prominently featured in several shots. The technical crew worked with remarkable precision during this emotionally charged portion of the recording. They understood that they were capturing not just a speech, but a moment of genuine human connection between a monarch and her people. The lighting remained warm and consistent, creating an atmosphere of comfort and intimacy that would translate powerfully to television screens around the world. As the Queen continued her address, she shifted focus to the remarkable acts of kindness and service that had emerged during the challenging year. Her words painted pictures of healthcare workers going above and beyond their duties, neighbors helping neighbors, and communities coming together in creative ways to support their most vulnerable members. These examples serve as proof that human goodness could flourish even in the darkest times. The speech highlighted specific examples of community spirit that had captured public attention during 2021. The Queen spoke about the volunteers who had delivered groceries to elderly residents, the teachers who had worked tirelessly to continue educating children during lockdowns, and the countless individuals who had found ways to brighten others' days through small acts of kindness. These stories demonstrated her deep connection with the daily experiences of ordinary citizens. Behind the cameras, the production team exchanged knowing glances as they witnessed the Queen's masterful ability to weave together personal reflection with broader social commentary. Her decades of experience allowed her to strike the perfect balance between acknowledging difficulties and inspiring hope. Every word was delivered with the conviction that came from a lifetime of public service. The Queen's discussion of family took on special poignancy given the recent changes in her own household. She spoke about the importance of creating new traditions while honoring old ones, a theme that many families could relate to as they adapted to changed circumstances. Her words acknowledged that Christmas might look different for many people, but emphasized that love and connection could transcend physical presence. The elegant setting of the white drawing room provided the perfect backdrop for these profound reflections. The antique furniture and classical decorations represented continuity and tradition, while the modern television equipment symbolized the monarchy's ability to adapt and remain relevant in changing times. This visual juxtaposition reinforced one of the Queen's key messages about honoring the past while embracing the future. As she spoke about the importance of faith and hope during difficult times, the Queen's personal beliefs shone through her words. Her role as Supreme Governor of the Church of England was evident, but her message was inclusive enough to resonate with people of all faiths and backgrounds. She spoke about the universal human need for hope and the comfort that spiritual beliefs could provide during times of uncertainty. The Christmas tree behind the Queen served as more than decorative backdrop. It represented growth, renewal, and the promise of brighter days ahead. The handmade ornaments told stories of community creativity and resilience, each one representing individuals and groups who had found ways to contribute positively during challenging times. The symbolic power of these visual elements enhanced the impact of the Queen's spoken message. During one particularly moving section of the speech, the Queen paused to acknowledge the sacrifices made by military personnel and their families during 2021. As Colonel-in-Chief of numerous regiments, she understood the unique challenges faced by service families, especially during deployments and separations. Her words carried special weight for military audiences who valued her genuine understanding of their experiences. The technical team captured the Queen's delivery with remarkable skill, ensuring that every nuance of emotion was preserved for broadcast. The multiple camera angles allowed for varied shots that kept viewers engaged while maintaining the dignity and formality appropriate for such an important address. The seamless switching between wide shots and close-ups created a dynamic viewing experience that held audience attention throughout. As the recording session progressed, the Queen's energy remained consistent despite the emotional weight of her message. Her professionalism impressed the crew, many of whom were working with her for the first time. They witnessed firsthand the dedication, and work ethic that had sustained her through nearly 7 decades of public service, even during her most challenging personal periods. The Queen's discussion of young people and their resilience during the pandemic showcased her understanding of intergenerational challenges. She acknowledged the specific difficulties faced by students, young workers, and families with children while praising their adaptability and creativity. Her words demonstrated that despite her advanced age, she remained connected to the experiences of all age groups within her realms. The historical weight of this moment was palpable in the room. Everyone present understood they were witnessing something significant. The Queen's first Christmas address as a widow, delivered during one of the most challenging periods in recent memory. The broadcast would become part of the historical record, documenting both her personal journey and the collective experience of her people during an extraordinary time. The Queen's mastery of the medium was evident in her ability to make the formal setting feel intimate and personal. Despite being surrounded by cameras, lights, and technical equipment, she spoke as though addressing a single family gathered around their Christmas tree. This skill, developed over decades of broadcasting experience, made each viewer feel individually acknowledged and comforted. Her words about the enduring power of love and memory provided comfort to anyone who had experienced loss. The Queen spoke from personal experience about how cherished memories could provide strength during difficult times, and how the love shared with departed family members continued to influence and guide the living. These reflections offered genuine solace to grieving viewers around the world. The production team worked with remarkable efficiency to capture every important moment of the recording session. Their expertise ensured that the technical aspects of broadcasting never interfered with the emotional authenticity of the Queen's message. The result would be a polished but genuine presentation that honored both the dignity of the monarchy and the humanity of its central figure. As the recording session moved toward its conclusion, the Queen maintained her composure and focus. Her final words would need to leave viewers with a sense of hope and purpose, encouraging them to face the future with confidence despite recent challenges. The weight of this responsibility was evident in her careful delivery and thoughtful pacing. The final portion of the Queen's Christmas message focused on hope, renewal, and the promise of brighter days ahead. Her voice took on a warmer tone as she shifted from acknowledging difficulties to inspiring confidence in the future. The lighting in the white drawing room seemed to grow softer and more golden, creating an atmosphere of comfort and optimism that would resonate powerfully with television audiences. As she spoke about the resilience of the human spirit, the Queen drew upon examples from throughout the Commonwealth that demonstrated how communities had come together during crisis. She mentioned the vaccination volunteers who had helped protect their neighbors, the key workers who had maintained essential services, and the countless individuals who had found creative ways to stay connected with loved ones despite physical separation. The production team captured these moments with exceptional care, understanding that they were documenting not just a speech, but a piece of history. The Queen's words about perseverance and community spirit would be studied by future generations as an example of leadership during crisis. Her ability to find hope amid darkness demonstrated the qualities that had sustained the monarchy through decades of change and challenge. Behind the cameras, members of the royal household watched with deep respect as their monarch delivered her message with characteristic grace and dignity. Many of them had worked closely with Prince Philip over the years and understood the personal cost of his absence. Yet the Queen's strength in continuing this important tradition, despite her grief, inspired everyone present. The Christmas tree in the background seemed to glow more brightly as natural light began to fade outside the castle windows. The handmade ornaments created by school children and community groups caught the television lights beautifully, each one representing a story of creativity and hope during difficult times. These visual elements reinforced the Queen's message about finding light in darkness. As she addressed the theme of family and togetherness, The Queen's words carried special meaning for the millions of people who would be separated from loved ones during the Christmas season. Her acknowledgement that family could be defined in many ways, including friends, neighbors, and community members who provided support and companionship, offered comfort to those spending the holidays alone. The technical crew maintained their professional focus despite being moved by the emotional power of the Queen's message. Their expertise ensured that every word was captured with crystal clarity, every gesture preserved for posterity. The multiple camera angles allowed viewers to see the Queen from various perspectives, creating a sense of intimacy and connection that transcended the physical distance between monarch and subjects. The Queen's discussion of faith and spiritual comfort demonstrated her deep personal beliefs, while remaining inclusive of all backgrounds and traditions. She spoke about the Christmas story as a source of hope and renewal, emphasizing themes of love, sacrifice, and redemption that could resonate with people regardless of their specific religious beliefs. Her words provided spiritual comfort without being exclusive or preachy. During one particularly moving segment, the Queen spoke directly to children who might be watching, acknowledging the unique challenges they had faced during the pandemic. Her words were gentle but encouraging, praising young people for their adaptability and resilience while promising that brighter days lay ahead. These moments showcased her ability to connect with audiences of all ages. The elegance of the white drawing room setting provided the perfect backdrop for these uplifting messages. The warm colors and classical proportions created a sense of stability and continuity, while the Christmas decorations added seasonal joy and celebration. Every visual element had been carefully chosen to support the emotional impact of the Queen's words. As the recording session approached its conclusion, the Queen's energy remained strong and focused. Her decades of broadcasting experience were evident in her ability to maintain the same level of warmth and authority from beginning to end. The professional crew members who had worked with many celebrities and public figures were impressed by her stamina and dedication to the task. The Queen's closing words about the importance of service and giving back to communities reflected the values that had guided her entire reign. She encouraged viewers to look for opportunities to help others, emphasizing that even small acts of kindness could make significant differences in people's lives. This call to action transformed her message from passive comfort to active inspiration. Her final reference to Prince Philip was handled with characteristic dignity and grace. Rather than dwelling on loss, she spoke about how his example of service and dedication continued to inspire her and others. The sapphire brooch caught the light one final time, serving as a visual reminder of enduring love and cherished memories that transcended physical presence. The technical team prepared for the closing shots that would bring the broadcast to its conclusion. These final moments required perfect timing and execution, as they would leave the lasting impression that millions of viewers carried with them throughout the Christmas season. The cameras captured the Queen's serene expression and confident posture, projecting strength and stability even after addressing such emotionally challenging topics. As the Queen delivered her final words of blessing and good wishes for the coming year, the room fell completely silent except for the gentle hum of the television equipment. Everyone present understood they had witnessed something extraordinary, a masterclass in leadership communication during one of the most difficult periods in recent memory. The production crew began the careful process of wrapping up the recording session, their movements quiet and respectful as they packed away equipment and prepared to leave the white drawing room. The Queen remained seated for several minutes after filming concluded, taking time to decompress from the emotional intensity of delivering such an important message. Her private secretary approached quietly to confirm that the recording had been successful and would be ready for broadcast on Christmas Day. The technical team had captured every word and gesture with professional precision, ensuring that the Queen's message would reach audiences around the world with maximum impact and clarity. The Queen's lady-in-waiting helped her remove the microphone and make any necessary adjustments to her appearance before she returned to her private apartments. The formal atmosphere of the recording session gave way to quiet conversation and gentle reflection as everyone processed what they had just experienced. As afternoon light continued to fade outside the castle windows, the Queen made her way back to her private study, where her corgis waited patiently for her return. The weight of completing another Christmas message was lifted from her shoulders, but the significance of what she had just accomplished was clearly evident in her thoughtful demeanor. The white drawing room was carefully restored to its normal appearance, with the Christmas tree and decorations remaining as a reminder of the important broadcast that had just taken place. The technical equipment was packed away efficiently, leaving little trace of the complex production that had transformed the elegant space into a television studio. Members of the royal household who had witnessed the recording spoke quietly among themselves about the Queen's remarkable performance. Despite the personal challenges she had faced during 2021, her commitment to duty and service had never wavered. This Christmas message would stand as a testament to her strength and dedication during one of the most difficult periods of her reign. The Queen's Christmas message had been successfully recorded, ready to be broadcast to millions of people around the world on Christmas Day. Her words would provide comfort, inspiration, and hope during a time when such messages were desperately needed. The careful preparation, professional execution, and genuine emotion behind the broadcast ensured that it would be remembered as one of her most meaningful Christmas addresses. Christmas Day 2021 dawned crisp and clear across the United Kingdom and the Commonwealth nations. In millions of homes, families gathered around television sets, tablets, and smartphones, continuing a cherished tradition that had brought them together for decades. The anticipation for the Queen's annual Christmas message was particularly high this year, as people sought comfort and guidance during these unprecedented times. At 3 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, television screens across the globe filled with the familiar sight of the elegantly decorated white drawing room at Windsor Castle. The warm lighting and festive decorations created an immediate sense of welcome and intimacy, drawing viewers into what felt like a personal conversation with a monarch who had guided them through so many challenges over the years. In a nursing home in Manchester, elderly residents gathered in their common room to watch together, many of them remembering the Queen's very first televised Christmas broadcast from the 1950s. Their eyes lit up with recognition as the familiar figure appeared on screen, her presence as comforting and reassuring as it had been throughout their lifetimes. Across the Atlantic, Canadian families paused their Christmas celebrations to watch their Queen deliver her annual message. The time difference meant morning viewing for many, creating a perfect start to their Christmas Day festivities. Children who had never known a different monarch watched alongside grandparents who remembered the Queen's coronation in 1953. In Australia, where it was already late evening on Christmas Day, families gathered for what had become a beloved bedtime tradition. The Queen's words provided a peaceful conclusion to their holiday celebrations, offering reflection on the year past and hope for the year ahead. Her message of resilience particularly resonated with communities that had faced their own challenges with bushfires and flooding. Military families stationed around the world found special comfort in the Queen's words. From bases in the Middle East to ships in the Pacific, service personnel watched the broadcast on whatever devices were available, feeling connected to home through their sovereign's familiar presence. Her acknowledgement of their sacrifice and service meant everything to those spending Christmas far from loved ones. In hospital wards across Britain, patients and staff paused their daily routines to watch together. The Queen's words about finding light in darkness held particular meaning for those facing health challenges and the medical professionals caring for them. Many healthcare workers had worked tirelessly throughout the pandemic, and hearing their efforts acknowledged by the Queen provided validation for their sacrifices. The broadcast reached into care homes where residents had spent months separated from family members due to pandemic restrictions. The Queen's understanding of loneliness and separation, spoken from her own experience of loss, brought tears to many eyes. Her words created a sense of shared experience and mutual understanding between monarch and subjects. Social media platforms buzzed with real-time reactions as younger viewers shared their thoughts about the Queen's message. Many expressed surprise at how personally affected they felt by her words, discovering a new appreciation for the stability and continuity she represented in their rapidly changing world. Her ability to connect across generational lines remained as strong as ever. In homes where Christmas looked different this year due to loss or separation, the Queen's acknowledgement of empty chairs and changed traditions provided profound comfort. Her personal experience with grief gave authenticity to her words that no amount of careful speechwriting could have achieved. Viewers felt understood and less alone in their sorrow. The technical quality of the broadcast was flawless, allowing every nuance of the Queen's delivery to reach audiences clearly. The careful camera work captured her subtle expressions and gestures, making viewers feel as though they were sharing an intimate conversation rather than watching a formal speech. This sense of personal connection had always been the hallmark of her Christmas messages. International news organizations provided live commentary and analysis of the speech, noting its historical significance as the Queen's first Christmas address as a widow. Commentators praised her strength and grace in continuing this important tradition despite personal loss, viewing it as emblematic of her lifelong commitment to duty and service. In the days following the broadcast, excerpts from the Queen's message were shared millions of times across digital platforms. Her words about resilience, community spirit, and finding hope in darkness resonated far beyond traditional royal watchers, reaching people who rarely engaged with monarchy-related content, but found meaning in her universal messages of comfort and encouragement. Religious leaders from various faiths praised the inclusive nature of the Queen's spiritual reflections. While grounded in Christian tradition, her words about faith and hope transcended denominational boundaries, offering comfort to people of all beliefs. This inclusive approach reflected the diverse nature of modern Britain and the Commonwealth. Educational institutions incorporated the Queen's message into discussions about leadership, communication, and public service. Students analyzed her rhetorical techniques and the way she balanced personal reflection with public responsibility. The broadcasts serve as a masterclass in effective leadership communication during crisis. Mental health professionals noted the therapeutic value of the Queen's acknowledgement of grief and loss. Her willingness to address difficult emotions publicly helped normalize conversations about bereavement and mental health challenges. Many viewers found courage to seek support for their own struggles after hearing their monarch speak so openly about universal human experiences. The global reach of the broadcast demonstrated the enduring relevance of the monarchy in the digital age. Despite predictions that younger generations would lose interest in royal traditions, viewing figures remained strong across all age groups. The Queen's ability to adapt her message to contemporary challenges while maintaining traditional values proved the ongoing vitality of the institution she represented. Commonwealth leaders issued statements praising the Queen's message and its relevance to their own nation's experiences during 2021. Her words about community resilience and mutual support reflected values shared across the diverse cultures and societies that made up the modern Commonwealth family. In the weeks that followed, the Queen's Christmas message was translated into dozens of languages and shared with communities around the world. Her themes of hope, service, and human connection transcended cultural and linguistic barriers, demonstrating the universal appeal of her leadership philosophy. Media analysts noted that this Christmas message would likely be remembered as one of the Queen's most significant, marking not just her personal transition into widowhood, but also serving as a defining moment in how modern monarchy could address contemporary challenges while honoring ancient traditions. The success of the 2021 Christmas broadcast reinforced the importance of this annual tradition in the life of the monarchy and the nations it served. Despite all the technological and social changes of the past decades, the fundamental human need for comfort, guidance, and inspiration during difficult times remain constant. As families around the world concluded their Christmas Day celebrations, many carried the Queen's words with them into the new year. Her message of resilience and hope would continue to provide comfort in the months ahead, proving once again the enduring power of thoughtful leadership and genuine human connection in times of uncertainty and change. The Queen's 2021 Christmas message had successfully fulfilled its dual purpose, honoring the memory of Prince Philip while inspiring her people to face the future with confidence and determination. Her words would be remembered not just as a beautiful tribute to her late husband, but as a masterpiece of communication that touched hearts and minds across the globe during one of the most challenging periods in recent memory.